of the amount of Welsh people who may die as a result of medical shortages following a no-deal Brexit.
Mr. Speaker, the honourable member, by supporting the motion last night and the bill this evening, is simply prolonging the uncertainty. The Welsh people want, and the British people want, certainty about our exit from the European Union. We are determined to leave at the end of October. We would like to leave with a deal. That will give us the smoothest possible exit, but at least we can plan for the opportunities the future brings.
Order. I appeal to the House to calm down. There's a very large number of noisy private conversations taking place, which, at the very least, is rather discourteous to and disrespectful of the people of Wales. Mr. Ross Thompson.
Question number 9, Mr. Speaker.
Minister.
This government is a unionist government, firmly committed to strengthening our United Kingdom. My noble friend, Lord Dunlop, is conducting an independent inquiry to ensure UK government structures are configured to strengthen the working of the Union, whilst respecting and supporting the current devolution settlement.
My honourable friend agree with me that all 4 nations of our United Kingdom benefit from the close bonds of our Union, and that as we leave the EU with powers returning from Brussels, we can strengthen those bonds even further.
Minister.
I totally agree with my honourable friend. Seeing powers coming back to this United Kingdom and going to the devolved tier of government will help bring our 4 nations closer together. But that's why it's so strange that those people who call themselves nationalists actually want to take powers back so they can give them away again to Brussels.
Isn't it the case that the real nationalist party in this chamber now, after last night's events, is the Tory party, which is rapidly turning into the right-wing English nationalist party?
Minister.
Well, what a load of rubbish. This party is absolutely firmly committed to being a unionist party, and we will not be fanning the flames of division by raising the prospects of second referendums, including second referendums on separation.
Mr. Peter Bone.
With your permission to question 12.
Mr. Speaker, the Welsh economy approaches EU exit from a strong position. Leaving the European Union will allow us to shape our own ambitious trade and investment opportunities, putting Wales and the wider UK at the forefront of global trade and investment.
Mr. Peter Bone.
My gosh, Mr. Speaker, the Minister has answered the question fully. I can't ask a supplementary.
Mr. Speaker, we can take great pride in how the economy has performed since the referendum took place. Record levels of employment, low levels of unemployment and inactivity levels in Wales now that are better than the rest of the UK. That's for the first time in decades. I look forward to the opportunities being participants in new free trade agreements right around the world will give to the Welsh economy.
If the UK leaves the European Union without
Now the honourable gentleman knows how popular he is. He has a right to have his question heard with courtesy, and we'll keep going for as long as necessary to ensure that that happens in every case. Chris Bryant.
I'm not sure it's worth it, to be honest. But if the UK leaves the European Union without a deal, how will Welsh farmers be able to sell their lamb in the European Union?
I've already mentioned the positive engagement that we have with the farming and rural affairs community and the new markets that are open to us. But the honourable member, by voting last night in favour of the motion and also by supporting the bill tonight, will just prolong the uncertainty and will not allow farmers to prepare. We are determined to leave the European Union. We want to leave the European Union with a deal, but we must draw a line and move on to exciting economic opportunities thereafter.
Christian Matheson. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm delighted to say July 2019 saw a 20% increase in traffic westbound and an 8% increase eastbound compared to July 2018. It is too early to make a detailed economic assessment, but our initial estimates were it would boost the Welsh economy by around £100 million a year.
Mr. Matheson.
I'm really pleased to hear of those benefits. So will you have a word with the Transport Secretary just along the government bench and get him to take notice of those benefits and have him remove the tolls on the Mersey crossing, which of course the Conservative government said they'd never levy in the first place?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Each crossing is based in an individual case, and the Mersey Gateway, as you know, built in 2017, was based on a 30-year concession to fund its construction.
Mrs. Madeline Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Commandant at RAF St Athens has put...
Very well done. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Secretary of State has regular discussions with ministers at the Ministry of Defence on No. 4 School of Technical Training. I will be meeting with ministers at the Ministry of Defence shortly to explore options not only on maintaining St Athens' role as an important military and civilian site, but how to enhance the wider military presence in Wales.
Mrs. Madeline Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Commandant has said the school will close before April 2024. What steps is the Secretary of State taking, given that it's in his constituency, to ensure that the people there will have a chance to either move to Cosford or Lynham, or, even better, remain in Wales with this viable school remaining where it should be?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, thankfully, those who work at St based at St Athens have a very strong champion in the local MP and the Secretary of State for Wales in ensuring that the military presence is maintained. We just wish the Welsh Government was slightly more cooperative.
Order. Questions to the Prime Minister. Siobhan McDonough. The Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I know the whole House will want to join me in paying tribute to PC Andrew Harper, who was killed while on duty. His death and the serious injuries sustained by PC Stuart Oughton in London and PC Gareth Phillips in Birmingham are a powerful reminder of the dangers that police officers face every day to keep us safe. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in the House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Siobhan McDonough.
Mr. Speaker, can I associate myself with the brave acts mentioned about the police officers? The former Brexit, Mr. Speaker. The former Prime Minister's deal was unacceptable to this House. But to leave without a deal is unthinkable. Yet the Prime Minister pursues a game of brinkmanship built on the livelihoods, health and future of my constituents and our country. But there is still an option to resolve this once and for all. If the Prime Minister really believes in no deal, let him put it to the people and ask our people if that is the price they want to pay.
Yes, Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as the Honourable Lady knows very well, this government will take this country out of the European Union on October the 31st. There is only one thing that stands in our way. It is the surrender bill currently being proposed by the leader of the opposition. And can I invite her to confirm, can I invite the leader of the opposition to confirm when he stands up shortly, that if that surrender bill is passed, he will allow the people of this country to have their view on what he is proposing to hand over in their name with an election on October the 15th, Mr. Speaker.
Robert Halfon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can my right honourable friend confirm that when we leave the European Union on the 31st of October, no longer will we be subjected to EU rules on VAT in terms of our energy bills, costing Harlow constituents and households around £55 extra every year? Will he confirm that we will take back control of our energy bills and save households around £1.5 billion a year on the heating and lighting?
Minister.
I thank my right honourable friend and for his excellent suggestion. As he knows, we do currently apply the reduced 5% rate on domestic fuel and power, which is the lowest allowed under EU law. But of course, when we leave the European Union on October the 31st, it will be open to us to change this for the benefit of the people of Harlow.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I start by paying my deepest respects to PC Andrew Harper, who died in the line of duty. It's a reminder about the risk that he faced and police officers faced all the time, trying to protect communities. Our sympathies to his family, to his colleagues and his friends. I also, Mr. Speaker, want to send our condolences to those people affected by Hurricane Dorian that hit the Bahamas at the weekend. I'm hoping and I'm sure that the government and DFID will be doing all they can to make sure all help is sent there that's necessary. Yesterday, it was revealed, Mr. Speaker, that the Prime Minister's negotiating strategy is to run down the clock, and that the Attorney-General told the Prime Minister his belief that the European Union would drop the backstop was a complete fantasy. Are these reports accurate, or can the Prime Minister provide the detail of the proposals he's put forward to the EU?
The Prime Minister.
I tell you, Mr. Speaker, what our negotiating strategy is, and it is to get a deal by the summit on October the 17th, and to take this country out of the EU on October the 31st, to get Brexit done. And what his surrender bill would do, it would wreck any chance of the talks, and we don't know what his strategy is at all were he to take over. He's asking for mobs of momentum activists to paralyse the traffic in the name of his. What are they supposed to chant, Mr. Speaker? What is the slogan? What do we want? What do we want? Dither and delay. When do we want it? We don't know. That's his policy. That's his policy. And can he confirm again, can he confirm now, that he will allow the people of this country to decide on what he is giving up in their name with a general election on October the 15th? Or is he frit?
Jeremy Corbyn. Mr. Speaker, my first question to the Prime Minister, and